Yeah, Hurricane Katrina. I remember waking up inside the hurricane, and you could hear like the wind and the water and thunder and lightning. And the first thing I did when I woke up is look out the door, and I was amazed and shocked because like I true in my heart know why they call her Hurricane Katrina. It was like a giant spirit looking, a giant banshee, and her robes were the wind and the water, and they were just taking over the city. And then I was with my cousin PC and his girlfriend, and we were in our auntie's house on Clewitt Street. You know what I mean? It's 336 Clewitt Street, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. And then I was okay. I looked up and seen what I seen. Her eyes glowing, two eyes glowing with electricity, and her face, skin was peeling down from her face, and it was like, yeah, Hurricane Katrina. And then I closed the door, and I told my peoples, hey, start packing. We need to get out of here. So as we were packing, something told me to look out again. So I looked out again, and it was the same thing that I saw, except the water was rising rapidly, and the water was turning cars over like toys. So I told my family, hey, we need to leave right now. So they, you know what I'm saying, they followed me. I was the first to jump off the porch into the water, and I had a 2x4 to guide me, and I stuck my hand out, and my cousin PC was next, and then I mean his wife was next, and then my cousin had came, and then we all together, while the water was rising, we were trying to make our way to higher ground to our auntie's house on Louisa Street. And we couldn't even make it that far. We had stopped at the corner house, and we were stuck outside of the corner house while the water was rising, and the wind was tearing the metals off the roof, and we were all huddled praying to God all at the same time. God, please help us. God, please help us. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 3 life jackets came floating the opposite way of the wind. The wind was pulling stuff off the roof this way, and the 3 life jackets were floating this way. So we saw the life jackets, and we sort of got excited, like, yeah, like God's on our side. We could do this. We could survive. We all grabbed the 3 life jackets, and then I grabbed the 2x4. I was like amped, like feeling it, like crunk. I grabbed the 2x4, and I was like, I'm gonna break in it, bitch. I broke the window, and then we climbed in the window, and it was a 2-story house. We climbed in the window and ran to the top, and the water filled into the tippy top. And from there, we stayed 2 days without no food and water until the rain stopped. And then after the rain stopped, we climbed out the window, and we were on the roof. And I'm from the, you know what I'm saying, the lower 9th ward. That's where it all took place. And from there, like they came through with boats, and they took us to the convention center. And on my trip to they rescued me from my auntie's house to the convention center. We were on a boat, and the city was shut down, and it looked like we were in outer space, because from the reflection of the water, you see the stars, and then when you look up, you see the stars. And that's something I never seen or been through, you know what I'm saying? And then the convention center was just a total wild 7 days. It's like survival, watch your back in the dark, people killing each other, people committing suicide, like crazy stuff that I don't think nobody would ever be brave enough just to go through. You know what I mean? But thank God they came for us, you know what I mean? Thank God, God bless the United States of America, even though, you know what I mean? I'm still grateful that they took a long time to come get us. I'm still grateful they came and got us. Yeah.
So I guess it starts in Colorado. I left Texas to Colorado and started a new life and everything. And so when I got to Colorado, I started selling drugs again. I was a major drug dealer. That's what I've been doing forever. And started selling dro at first, weed, stuff like that. And you know, life was good. I was living in hotel rooms, yada yada yada, on my way to getting the house. And my brother moved to Colorado, bought a house. We went halves on a house. We started to grow up, started selling a lot more weed, and started selling some meth, started selling some acid, a couple hundred sheets. One night I was in a hotel room and slinging drugs out of it, and I walked outside and there was a girl, and she was pretty cute, so I stopped her. I was like, hey, you know, what's up? My name's Nathan. I sell bud. You need some bud? You need some acid? What's up? And she started telling me about this magazine crew. This was about 34 weeks ago, and I was intrigued at first. You know, I was intrigued, and I started looking it up, and there was a bunch of stuff about human trafficking and a bunch of bullshit all comes along with the cruise and stuff like that. And so I really joined the mag crew just to go out and I wanted to try to stop human trafficking, really and truly. I was gonna make anonymous tip calls, but there was no human trafficking. It wasn't a human trafficking ring. It was just a bunch of kids selling magazines. And we were selling magazines to go to Rome. There was a trip involved and $10,000. But you know, I made commission, yada yada yada. I made enough to feed myself and clothe myself and eat and yada yada yada, and pull girls every once in a while. But the mag crew really isn't for everybody, man. It's you got to be a certain type of person. You can't let anything get to you. But got arrested while I was knocking doors for marijuana. Had a half an ounce on me. And shittiest part is, man, my whole crew left me. They just got up and jumped, took all my stuff. Everything's gone. I got stranded in Albuquerque. Now I'm on my way back to Colorado. Probably gonna go do the drug thing again, you know. Yesterday I got out of jail for the marijuana, and so I didn't have anywhere to go. Started trying to panhandle to get a room, calling all my friends to send me some money. Nobody could send me money last night. So I found a bunch of sweaters in this box next to this place called Justice and Peace or something like that. And started throwing sweaters on, found this dumpster, man. It was a construction dumpster. First time I've ever slept outside. So I hopped in the dumpster, man, got a bunch of sheetrock together, laid it down, and put some cardboard down and showed up in a ball, man. I mean, it was so cold. They told me the desert was cold at night, and I never believed them, but it was so fucking cold, man, that I really felt like every single bone in my body would break if I moved it. It's pretty shitty, man. So woke up this morning and here I am. I'm on my way to Colorado. Woo! Let's get there.
Have you guys ever seen this one before? Do you want to hold on to that for a second for me? Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little circle, okay? I'm going to cup it up, make sure it's an all right size. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it, right? And I'm going to stick it right down in my hand, okay? You see it right there, right? You see it? Watch me, because I'm a tricky guy, okay? I'm going to get it, I'm going to push it down real good. Make sure it's really in there and just toss it away. Did you guys just see where that went? See this little line in my hand right here? I put it in there and I can push it up. I always hurts around the chest, so here it comes. There it is. There it is. Anything else in there? You know what the amazing part about that trick? It's still dry. I'm sure you're gonna take my word for it though, right? I usually can make food disappear the best though, right?
And I don't even know where we were though. It was like the middle of nowhere, Texas, dark as ever, driving down the highway, and like all of a sudden there was this huge light, and we're like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Did you see that? And we all seen it. And so we start driving, and my mom's like, we're gonna drive towards the light. And I was like, okay. And my brother started freaking out. He's like, don't do it, Mom, don't do it. And then so out of, right where we saw that one light, because it went bright and then went away, we saw 3 lights, and then 5 lights, and then 7 lights, and then 5 lights, and then 3 lights, and then 1 light.
What?
And we were like, oh my gosh. So we started driving towards it, and it kept doing that over and over. Like 1, 3, 5, 7, 5.
Like a pattern?
Yeah. And we're like, oh my gosh. So so we're driving and driving and driving, and we drive off like the main highway off to this side street, and we're driving towards it. And my brother, I remember him like telling my mom to stop, and my sister was like hysterically crying because she was only like months old. No, she was probably about 5. My brother was probably about 8. I was probably about 9. And so sure enough, we get all the way closer and closer to it, and then it just all disappeared. And we were like, did that really just happen? And then we never talked about it. And then probably about 5 years ago, like me and my brother and sister were together with the family or whatever, and my sister brought it up. She's like, do you remember when we went and tried to see the aliens? And I'm like, do you even remember that? And she's like, totally. And my brother's like, that was probably the scariest thing that's ever happened in my life. He's like, I never talk about it.
Damn, I'm feeling really good. I'm gonna go home and sleep because tomorrow's my day off. So like I'm just standing there at the front counter with my manager. We're just chatting away, doing nothing. And then all of a sudden this guy comes in and he's like wearing a hoodie and like this bandana over his face with like holes poked out for the eyes. And I'm just sitting there, well, that's a weird way to dress in the middle of the summer. And so like, Bye.
Hi, beautiful.
So he's like, comes around the counter, and I'm thinking, okay, it's someone who works here. It's a practical joke. The word robbery is not coming through my mind until he holds up like this big 45, and I'm like, oh, robbery. Duh. No wonder. So like, he's telling like, you know, what do you think? Get the money. And then my manager's like panicking, like, what money? There's no money here. And then I'm just like staring in the back where my co-workers are. I'm looking at Jeremy. I'm like, Jeremy. I'm really hinting, like I'm pointing with my face, like, I'm fine enough.
Got 9 years.
And he looks over. Oh!
Does everybody work with high?
There he is. So like he's like emptying the front counter, one of the registers. So then like he takes my manager in the back, and he's like shoving her. I'm like, hey, you don't need a pusher. He's like, sit your ass down. I'm like, okay, I don't feel like getting shot today. I'm not gonna play the hero. And then I'm just thinking, ah shit, we got all those fucking macho Mexicans in the back. Don't pull anything. Someone's gonna die tonight. So they go up to the back, and I'm just thinking, should I hit him with the trash dumper? Like, it's a real heavy piece of metal. And I'm like, no, don't do anything, don't do anything. I pull out my phone, I'm like, 911, 911. It's like on a Wikipedia page, I'm like, go back, go back, go back, go back. So like, he like just walks right by me leaving, and I'm like, oh shit. Sitting there on the floor, just panicking. And he walks out, and my manager's like, go find out where he went, go look at him. I run out to the back and see him running the corner. It comes, like, later on we find out he made away with like $1,700. That could last, like, how much shit can that buy me? So, that's my story of how I was inspired to rob McDonald's. No, I haven't done it yet, but
Yet.
thought about it. That's important.
Well, that's why I think like places like that, they should have like, you know, guns underneath the counters.
Okay, this man right here called Fascine Bangura from Guinea, West Africa. I play African instrument called balafon. Thank you for listening. I'm making this money. I don't buy drug for this money. I send this money to Africa. I send the money every month to Africa, to my family. That's why I'm here, to survive, help by my side, and you know, we need to support together. And the music never stop people, bring the people together. So please, we love to have more unity, bring another unity, more feeling, vibrates. Thank you.
No, 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 no.
Good man, that's nice.
Henry was in prison with me, and he was a shot caller and well deserved. He punched a guy in the mouth quick and that. He was a little bit of a bully, but not really a bully because he'd hit a big guy too. He didn't take any shit. He was straight ghetto. I believe he was from LA and out in Phoenix, got busted, whatever. Anyway, we were in the same yard together out in Grand Unit in Safford, Arizona, and I signed up for basketball league, and he was on a different team. Well, nobody wanted to defend him ever. On other teams, they'd always give him slack, and he'd be a high point scorer, and he'd bully his way, and guys were afraid to play him close. Well, I'm not that way. I was raised on the south side of Chicago. I played around black, white, yellow, brown. Anyway, street ball too, you know. There was refs actually in this league too, and he hated it when we played with him. I would guard his ass. I wouldn't let him get the ball. I'd knock it out of bounds. I was always on him. He'd be mean to me and stuff. And anyway, it was one game where we were going for the championship, and I was on Henry, and I was guarding him, and someone said, "Behind, reach up, Scotty," and I reached up, and I caught the ball that he was going to get to go to the basket, turned around, threw it down court, was assisted in a almost basket when Henry fouled me on purpose. So I would have to go to the 2-point line, the free throw line to score to beat him. Seconds were running out. Well, anyway, I get up on the free throw line, and the first basket, it sounds like an NBA swoosh, man. I mean, there's all net, man. No rim whatsoever. And the crowd was just so quiet, man. And they threw me back the ball. I bounced it once and I threw it in, and boom, all net, man. It tied the game, and because it was a technical foul, I had one more shot at it. And again, all net. Henry was beside himself, pissed off. And I went up to shake his hand, and he shook my hand in that. But the point is that, like Bainey was saying, is that people that have heart respect a man with heart. And I was playing a game. I always respected everybody around me, and even a man who walks in righteousness is even at peace with his enemies. And that's how I live my life mostly, when I remember how Christ taught me to live my life. End of story on that one.
Fucking always. It's so weird. This one time, I was watching the G.G. Allen funeral video. After he just died, and they had him in the casket, and they're just holding a little funeral service. I was just watching a little video on this TV I had. I was watching it and I had this Dorothy and Flora like inflatable doll. And it just pops, just out of nowhere, just fucking pops. What the fuck? And then the room starts getting like heavier and I start feeling like chills up my spine instead. Then I'm like getting all spooked out. And I'm sitting there watching the TV and my vision like centers to the bottom of the TV and I see like this black cloud like kind of form in the middle of the TV. And it gets thicker and thicker and it just fucking pours out like onto the TV stand. And it just like pours out and it just comes out onto the floor. And it's like by my feet, and then it like rises up in front of me, and it's like right here, like while standing up like this, so it was like maybe like right here, and like I was like, what the fuck? And then it just suddenly just goes and like goes around me. I was like, what the fuck? I got all spooked out. I turned off the TV and I ran to my brother's room all scared. I went in there, like, what the fuck's wrong? I'm like, oh, nothing, it's just nothing, don't worry about it. And then I'm just sitting there, and I'm like sitting right behind the door. The door's like half like that, and right here, the door's open. And in the same fucking shadow, I see it creep around the door to the door creak, and it comes around the door. I'm sitting right here like the cigarette, it comes around, and it goes, and it goes around me like fucking that. And like fucking, I had this great big like pink mohawk, and like I felt like my fucking hair, like it was pulling on my hair, like it was like I felt it. It was just like I could feel vibrations. So then after a while, I just kind of dealt with it with the chills, and then like
I actually think I have the same.
Was like, all right, I'm just gonna tough it out, whatever. And then so I dealt with it, and then it went away. And then I forgot about it because I got all stoned or something. I fucking forgot. And fucking later on that night, I was laying on my side, and I fucking wake up, and it's the same fucking thing on my hair, but it's like pulling on my spikes. I'm like, what the fuck? I wake up, and this thing's like fucking face to face with me, like fucking breathing on me. And all I say is, what the fuck? And it just vanishes. Fucking gone. And I don't know where it went. I haven't seen it since, but
you want to call it?
Oh, that's a weird fucking time, man.
There you go.
But I don't know if it was the ghost of Gigi Allen or what, but something came out. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like how?
That's my Gigi Allen ghost story. Spooky.
So one day I come home and it's super hot and I'm tired. I just throw my keys onto the counter in the kitchen and I go sit down on the couch. I'm not even watching TV, I'm just sitting there, just exhausted. And all of a sudden, I hear my keys like dragging across our tile counter. I'm like, what the fuck? Like nobody was home and I knew that. And so like get my lazy bones off the couch and I'm walking down the hallway and like with each step I'm getting like more and more like dragged down and I just feel this heavy energy and I don't feel too good and I look at my keys where I threw them down on the counter and they weren't there. They were dragged all the way across the other side of the counter. And I was like, it's fucking weird, I didn't put them there. I look up at the clock to see what time it was to see if anybody was home yet. And like all of a sudden the clock, like it's like ticking really loud and I had this weird feeling like this grudge over me and the clock's like tick, tick, and it was really intense. And I'm like, oh, I feel weird. And my body like moves and looks into down the hallway where our dining room was. And my stepmom had this really cool old Ouija board that like was before like Warner Brothers or whatever the fuck Game Board bought it. And it had the old eye or whatever it's called, and the like the glass had been broken out of it. And so I didn't realize what was happening till I look and I see, and like the eye of the Ouija board is hovering above the board that's on the dining room table. I look over, I don't notice anything different until I see it drop on the table. And I was like, holy shit! And I run out the front door. I was all, no, not going back out there. And I sat on our porch until everybody got home. So I was really freaked out and I didn't like it.
Say a word to anybody.
Well, I did. They came in, I was like, ghost in there, I'm not going in there, fuck that, I don't like this house.
One night, I was out in Aurora. Aurora is a suburb of Chicago. It's like a west suburb. It's like an hour and a half to the west, right? And when I was bumming, Like all these shitty little suburbs that are outside of Chicago, like you got Aurora and you got Waukegan and Joliet and shit like that. And like these are just little wannabe Chicago. So basically all you get is like crack everywhere, right? So I was homeless and I knew this guy, Kenny Washington, right? I knew him from this rehab center. It's called Wayside Cross Ministries. I knew him from there. He was like a graduate of their Bible program, right? I didn't, but I think I was sober for like, shit, it was like 90 days or some bullshit. And I started drinking again and my life slowly fell apart again, as it usually does within 6 months, right? So I hit up Kenny because I didn't have any place to go. And I know he was still in this little shit apartment from he graduated Wayside again, right? And I knew he was smoking crack and just posting up in there and shit. So I went and saw Kenny, and Kenny was like, yeah, you can stay over here, you know what I mean? We got hustle, this, that, and the other thing. It was never any hustle, I'll tell you that. Like, I would go and I would panhandle at the gas station, and then the supermarket, and then the other gas station across the street, and like, just do a little bit of that, like, all night, trying to get beer money like a dick, you know? But Kenny's little lick was he would go and he would post up out on the block, and I would have to go do that with him. And basically, there were like so many crackheads in Aurora, they would be able to score rock, and then they wouldn't have any place to smoke the shit. Because I mean, you go into an alley, you do this and that, but there was a heavy police presence, you know. So they would see Kenny out on the block, and Kenny'd say, "Yeah, you come smoke, but you got to break me off a little rock," you know what I mean? So Kenny'd get his little bullshit, and I'd get a little bit of the fucking after chore hit bullshit, and we'd be a little high, and then we'd go do that, and like that's what we'd do for the rest of the day. So one night, I had went somewhere, right? But I had heard about all this on the block afterwards. And what happened was there was this broad, and she was clean for like 2 months or 3 months, and she was with this dude named Pookie or whatever. And so she sees Kenny out on the block, and Kenny goes, you should come over for smoke out. And she's like, I've been sober for 2 months, me and Pookie, blah, blah, blah. So Kenny convinces this broad to come upstairs, and she starts hitting the pipe or whatever, right? So Pookie starts calling this bitch, and Pookie's saying, you're not over at Kenny's house, are you? You ain't over at Kenny's house, are you? And she said, no, I ain't at Kenny's house, blah, blah, blah. So she quit answering the phone at like 2 in the morning or whatever. They were still up smoking rock at like 6 a.m. Like, I guess they had just run out, right? And she answers. She answers the phone finally at like 6. And he's like, you at Kenny's? I know you at Kenny's. I'm coming over there, right? So I don't know why this broad didn't just leave or something, but she hold it up in there, and they like barricaded the door and shit. And he came over, this dude, and he kicked the whole door off its frame. Like, I came and I seen the aftermath. The entire, like, it looked like the whole fucking thing exploded off the wall. There was like cups and shit all over, the porcelain mugs broken up all over the ground and like shit. And he comes in and he sees Kenny, and he grabbed his ass and threw him right out the window. Threw him out the 3rd floor window. Dude, right? Like, I get back on the block, and I'm like, where's Kenny, blah, blah, blah. And people tell me what happens, you know, when I go up to the apartment. That's why I know, like, everything was busted in, and the porcelain was broken up. So I held up in there. Like, I went and sold some beers from the supermarket across the street, the Mexican grocery store. I went and sold some beers, a couple Steel Reserves, because if you're trying to get drunk, that's what you should drink. And I held up in there for a little bit, and then I finally called the hospital to get a hold of Kenny, and I'm like, Kenny, what's going on, man? Like, everything's fucked up over here. And he goes, I'll just grab that track jacket of mine, grab the keys, and find the landlord and get him to lock up. Come over here, bring me my shit. And I go, all right, bro. And I grab this, grab his little Echo thing and grab his keys. I tell the landlord's like, this is fucked. You guys are all 2 months behind. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's cool. And I start walking to the hospital, right? I get to the hospital, I find out where Kenny's room is, and I go up there and shit. And I go, Kenny, what's up, man? You all right? He's got like 2 compressed vertebrae. And he goes, let me get my jacket. And this dude, I couldn't even fucking believe it. He pulls his missile out of his front pocket and starts hitting it right in the bed. Smoking rock, trying to just hit the chore, the nothing bullshit. I'm like, for real, guy? Like, you just got thrown out the fucking window because of rocks, and you, all right, whatever. It was fucked, right? So Kenny wasn't sitting there much longer. He stayed for another night. He got out, right? And I came over to the hospital to meet him and shit, and we start walking back to his place. And as soon as we get there, like, there was maybe 2 mugs or 3 mugs or something that got broken everywhere. And like, busted porcelain looks a lot like little pieces of crack. So like, Kenny was in the carpet picking for like the next 2 days, going through every piece of fucking porcelain, trying to see if it would melt, see if he had some more rock. So.
1987 because there was a bunch of older women in Victoria, Canada, who couldn't get attention from the media. They were trying to stop the opening of a radioactive waste dump. So they started putting on big hats and long skirts and fancy stuff and writing new songs to old words, new words to old songs. And that's where we've been ever since, because pretty soon it went across the border into Seattle, and now there are Raging Grannies gaggles all over the world. And you know, we don't go in to get any medical stuff because we've been on a national security list since 2005.
The Raging Grannies have?
Yes, well, the Raging Grannies went into Army recruiting stations and sat down, refused to leave because they said this war in Iraq is wrong. We don't want you to take our children or grandchildren, so you should enlist us. And they'd sit there and knit. We've still got some pictures back about it took 13 cops to arrest 7 grannies in Tucson, and I've still got a picture someplace of a woman, got to be in her 80s, and she's walking with a walker, and a cop's holding her arm, and he looks really confused. He knows he can't cover her.
Yeah.
So basically, we play the granny card when we go out and protest.
The granny card?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, like we were called by a union that was trying to support the workers at Walmart to come out and lead their thing on their path down to the private place, property, so that they'd have to see these old ladies in the front. And of course we played the granny card. Sure enough, as soon as we were about as far away as that wall over there, the cops were in front of us, half a dozen of them.
Oh my gosh.
And so we played the granny card. I said, we're the Raging Grannies, and it's very distracting for older women to be around such handsome young men. And we actually saw a couple of blushes from a couple of the cops. And then instead of immediately turning around and going back like they wanted us to, we sang one of our songs, the one about Walmart, the one that if you don't treat your workers better, you can go straight to hell. And this Saturday we're going to be singing. We've been asked to sing over here at the Center for Peace and Justice at 2 o'clock. They're having there's a global fracking thing going on all over. And we're going to be singing. We've been asked to sing it for them, and we've got several songs.
That's awesome.
Stop the frack, Jack. Don't you pollute no more, no more, no more, no more. Stop the frack, Jack. And don't you pollute no more.
Sounds so awesome. That's cool.
And we've got Drill No More to Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind. And we've got The Climate is a Changin' to Dylan's The Times They Are Changin'. And we'll have enough for anybody who comes to the program to sing along. Yeah, it's always a sing-along.
And I hear the woman behind me say something, and she says, "Well, what do you do?" I was all, "Well, I'm a delivery man, you know." And she's like, "Oh, that's cool. You look like you're a strong young man, you know." I was like, "Yeah, I guess so, you know. It's just kind of sad, you know. I hate being alone all day, driving for like 8 hours a day by myself." She's like, "No, yeah, that could get bad. That could get bad." And I was like, yeah, we were just chit-chattering and waiting in line. And for some reason, it felt like we were in that line for like 15 minutes, no joke. And it's just because we were talking so much. And one thing that kind of caught me off guard was in the midst of our conversation, she would throw in little things that would be like, what? One of the things was, she was like, well, you're looking good these days. Like, you're looking good. You know me or something? You don't know me, lady. But I was just, going along with it. Yeah. Finally, we're at the front, and she's like, how about you pay for your gas, and I'll pay for all my stuff, and you can help me take it out to my car. It's like, yeah, of course, She bags all her stuff, and we walk out to her car, and it's this like red Jeep, old looking. I put the stuff in her car, And I turn around and she's standing there and she's like, well, thank you so much. You know, I appreciate, you know, you helping me out. And I just want to say you've grown into a really good, strong young man. And I'm really proud of you, Nick. And she puts her arms around me and gives me this hug that I'll never ever forget, because it felt like all the sadness that was like fucking like stuck in my head rushed out, and like this electricity of like happiness came through me. And then it took me till she left that I realized that she knew my name and I never told her my name. Got in my truck and I thought about like all the shitty things that happened in my life, and it didn't make me feel as bad as before I like talked to this woman. And it just made me freak the fuck out. Was all those nights me praying for my guardian angel like just answered now? And I started to cry, but it wasn't like tears of sadness, it was tears of happiness. I don't know, I can't explain it. Like, I'm shaking as if I was there right now. I just remember the first thing I thought of was, I'm gonna call my grandma right now. So I called her, and I was like, hey grandma, guess what happened? She's like, what? And I told her the story, and she started crying. And when I was younger, I felt like, oh, maybe one day I'll see my guardian angel, but I never really thought that, oh, my guardian angel's gonna fucking show up at a gas station, you know? But she did.
Close your eyes and just listen. Listen to the birds. Hear the water drops. Tune in close as the breeze blows. Hear the sounds come and hear the sounds go. It's time to heal the pain in our brain. No more running away. The best time to change is today. The universe works in a very kind way. Today, I pray. Most of the time, no voice speaks back, and that's okay. Sometimes, we just need something to listen. Today, I treat myself great. Suffering has vanished, and now I receive each and every need. Once again, it's instant manifestation, all just for me. You can call it God, but to me, it's the absolute loving. No label, no box, it's infinity and beyond. I hope you know how much to appreciate this being. She listens deeply, stares directly in my eyes, and grins sincerely. I can feel that she loves me, even if I have no idea who I am. It's as if someone freezes time, then rearranges a few things just to save me, even if it's the simplest of things. Makes me wonder and realize we're nearly a speck in your eye. Just thought I'd say I love you. I don't know where to send this letter, but I know you always hear me. Please, just my glasses, man. Come on, just my glasses, dude. Fuck, dude. I lost my fucking glasses, man. Fuck. Fuck, dude.